Hi everyone, a big hello from India. First and foremost, a big congratulations to all my Aussie mates and to the Australian cricket team for winning the first T20I at the Gabba a couple of days ago. It's been a good start to the cricket season and we hope to see some exciting games ahead. Well, this presentation is not about cricket or Australia's performance, but I'll talk to you about the performance of the Indian market over the last 12 months, talk a bit about the high value Indian traveler, share some of the upcoming activities in TA's calendar, which will help us gain a larger share from the world's fastest growing economy. It's been yet another successful year for Tourism Australia and India, with India on track to achieve the fifth consecutive year of double digit growth. We should cross the 350,000 arrivals mark anytime soon, and the growth that we have achieved this year is the highest that we have seen in the last 5 years. Arrivals are dominated currently by the leisure segment that includes the visiting friends and relatives segment and the holiday traffic. And almost over 45% of visitation is currently on account of the visiting friends and relatives segment, primarily due to the strong Indian diaspora of almost over 700,000 Indians or Indians who are now residing in Australia, and almost over 75,000 students who are studying in various Australian universities. Now, there's a natural tendency for Indians to travel and meet their families and friends who are based overseas. And what I would like to highlight is a cultural trait wherein the host, that is the Australian local, is the one who tends to pay for the guests, that is the Indian traveler. And hence, the spend of the Indian visiting his friend or a relative need not often get reported in our research, and hence we see that the spend is not growing in commensurate with the increase in the rate of growth of arrivals. So whilst we have seen the arrivals growing at almost 19 to 20%, spend has increased by just 5%. What we've also seen is the number of nights and dispersal seeing an increase of 23% and 44% respectively. So whilst Indians are traveling, and that's grown by almost 19%, Indians are also staying longer with a growth of almost 23% in the number of nights. And most importantly, they're also dispersing to the surrounds of the key gateway cities and also visiting new destinations. And that has seen an increase of 44% over the last 12 months. So the assistance that we need from the industry is to help us track the visit of Indian nationals who often visit your attraction with their Australian friend or relative who pay for their stay or their booking. And hence, sometimes this may get reported under domestic sales or under domestic visit. Indians usually love to pack a lot of experiences on their holiday. There's never a dull moment or a relaxing moment on their holiday, and it's always filled with activities. So whilst nature and wildlife and aquatic and coastal experiences rank high on the factors that influence destination selection, value for money also ranks quite high, and Indians are extremely value conscious. And most importantly, this also applies to the high value or the affluent segment. Indians are one of the most toughest negotiators, and they might even haggle for a $10 discount. However, they're amongst the top spenders and wouldn't even think twice before buying something that they really see value in. So it would be great if the industry could lure them with some exciting value driven deals, such as stay 3, pay 2. We could offer kids stay and eat free offer, complimentary breakfast or a meal, a package bundled price for a family of 3 or 4 traveling together, or even complimentary upgrades. Given the fact that India has already achieved its Tourism 2020 goal of 300,000 visitors in 2017 itself, our aim is now to drive yield by targeting the high value traveler who spends at least 2 or 3 times more than a normal tourist. The digital ecosystem comprising of the Facebook and the Google ecosystem will enable us to target these audiences with precision based on their likes, preferences, past travel history, and their consumption pattern. Our endeavor will be to drive dispersal and increase length of stay to the launch of new products, experiences, and destinations, and we'll be working closely with our STO partners to promote the surrounds and introduce new experiences to the Indian travel industry. The recently launched Undiscover Australia campaign aims to promote the lesser known destinations among the HVT segment, and this will help us to achieve our 2020 spend goal of 1.9 billion Australian dollars. The opportunities offered by the Indian market are truly immense, and India has the potential to be among the league of 1 million visitor markets for Australia over the next 8 to 10 years and share that slot along with the likes of New Zealand and China. India is today the world's third largest economy at purchasing power parity, and with the GDP growth rate between 7 to 8%, it is one of the world's fastest growing large economies. The rising aspiration and disposable income of the great Indian middle class of over 300 million people will ensure that Indian economy maintains this pace over the next decade, and this will also result in the growth of the outbound travel industry out of India. India today enjoys one of the highest destination brand index as validated by Tourism Australia's Consumer Demand Project research. Australia's awareness, aspiration to visit, Tourism Australia's advertising awareness, the destination aspiration, the intention to visit Australia, and destination advocacy is amongst the top ranks amongst our key competitors. The Australian dollar has been relatively stable as compared to other currencies that have appreciated vis-a-vis the Indian rupee, and that works in our favor. The Indian diaspora in Australia has doubled over the last 5 years, and so has the education traffic that has seen an increase over the years. The bilateral trade and investment relationship between the two countries is at an all-time high, and the recently released India Economic Strategy aims to capitalize on the India opportunity as well. I must say that the stars have truly aligned in Australia's favor, and hence, as validated by our key distribution partners, demand in India is certainly not an issue for brand Australia. Having said that, we have seen some supply side constraints, mainly on the aviation and on the visa front. Over the past 5 years, there hasn't been any increase in direct aviation capacity on the India-Australia route, and with the exception of Air India, we do not have any non-stop direct flights from India to Australia. To address this issue, we are working together with all the Australian airports and the state governments towards increasing the direct aviation capacity by influencing Indian carriers to commence direct flights. Another issue has been on the increasing visa processing timelines to get a tourist visa to travel to Australia. And currently, the global processing timelines, as stated on the Department of Home Affairs website, is over 17 to 31 days. Tourism Australia, along with its government relations team, are addressing this issue, and we are in talks with the Department of Home Affairs to reduce these timelines. And we are also working with the key distribution partners and the former preferred agents uh, to primarily bring down these timelines and improve the quality of documentation that is submitted to get an Australian visa. Competition in India is also on the rise, and every nation's tourism department is aiming to get a larger share of the Indian outbound traveler through increased marketing investments, Bollywood celebrity endorsements, and various distribution initiatives. The challenge of working in India is also about the fragmented distribution network where the traditional 80-20 rule does not apply, and hence the cost of servicing the market is really high. It's an absolute no-brainer that direct aviation links are extremely critical to drive visitation, and that applies to India as well. With the exception of those who fly direct on Air India, almost 90% of Indians usually take a one-stop flight to Australia via the Southeast Asian hubs. Whilst this is not the ideal option, we are really working closely with the Indian carriers, including Air India, Jet Airways, Vistara, and Indigo, as well as the Australian airports and the state and territory tourism organizations to encourage more direct flights and increase capacity on the India-Australia route. However, considering the financial issues faced by the Indian carriers, this might take up to 6 months to a year before any positive announcement on direct flights is made. The double-digit growth that India has achieved is despite limited capacity on the route, and you can simply imagine the potential of this market once we have additional capacity, mainly direct capacity on the route. In line with a fewer, bigger, and better mantra, we have reduced the number of key distribution partners that we work in market. Having said that, we do work closely with all the premier Aussie specialist agents and assist them on the product development front. During the current financial year, we'll be working with three key distribution partners, including Make My Trip, Thomas Cook, and SOTC, and ensure that they continue to drive visitation and spend through the introduction of new products. Make My Trip last year saw a huge growth of 72% in their overall bookings to Australia, mainly on their flights and hotel businesses. Thomas Cook and SOTC too have seen a surge in their business volumes and revenue, and they are the only two tour operators who have capitalized on the current India's Cricket Tour of Australia and have included a match ticket as a part of their GIT package. We have a deeper engagement with our key distribution partners with a year-round presence for Australia and helping them achieve ambitious goals that we have set for them. This extends beyond traditional advertising to include product development, dedicated webinars and face-to-face trainings, participation as Tourism Australia's key trade events, and leveraging the partners' distribution reach to achieve our business objectives. Tourism Australia will continue to maintain Australia's attractiveness and inspire our target audience to visit Australia through an always-on activity. As we speak, we have unveiled the fifth iteration of the Airline Marketplace campaign, an industry-first initiative in India, working together with 5 airlines that have offered some attractive fares to Australia, starting from as low as $500 for return economy class airfares. The campaign is supported by leading online travel agents such as Make My Trip, Yatra, GoIBibo, and ClearTrip. It's supported by key distribution partners and select Aussie specialist agents as well. For the first time, we have invited the Australian industry to capitalize on this campaign and offer some value-added deals through the ITOs and the agents. The campaign aims to leverage the awareness created through the launch of our Undiscover Australia campaign and is perfectly timed during the India's Cricket Tour of Australia. Those suppliers and industry partners who are unable to be a part of the fifth iteration of this marketplace, we invite them to be a part of the next iteration, which will be launched in May 2019. We'll continue to have an always-on digital presence for our Undiscover Australia campaign that will run up to April 2019, with focus on display, search, social, content, retargeting, and programmatic media buy. We'll be active during the India's Cricket Tour of Australia with our Undiscover Australia TVCs running on the official broadcaster Sony, the app Sony Live, and a content integration with ESPN Cricinfo featuring renowned model and actor Shibani Dandekar along with 5 Australian cricketers. And we'll also be hosting some of the key media as a part of our international media hosting programs during the India's Cricket Tour of Australia. Our partnerships with Make My Trip, Thomas Cook, SOTC will be timed during this period and will also run our airline co-ops with Malaysia Airlines, Singapore Airlines and Air India between Jan and April 2019. And these will help us to maintain Australia's awareness and attractiveness and offer compelling reasons for Indian travelers to visit Australia. So just to summarize, as the fastest growing economy in the world's largest middle class population, and surging outbound travel, India's rise is inevitable. Australia has set a strong foundation, and India is today the fastest growing inbound market for Australia in terms of visitation. We'll continue to raise Australia's awareness and attractiveness in India through a range of marketing, PR, and distribution activities. I personally urge you to be a part of the India growth story and join us on the journey to be in the league of 1 billion market for Australia over the next decade. If there's any assistance that you need in India, please don't hesitate to contact me or any of my colleagues from the India marketing team. And yes, most importantly, don't miss the bus or the train of the India opportunity. There's enough space for everyone. Thank you very much.